In today's world, words like inclusion, resilience, diversity are being used more now than ever. But what does that look like legitimately on a day to day basis, whether you're in the military or working a regular corporate America job? So let's talk about it. All right, hold up. Before we talk about what being more inclusive looks like and what we mean by being more inclusive, we need to have a real conversation of what we don't mean when we talk about being more inclusive. For starters, it doesn't mean that standards are being dropped. There's this myth out there that somehow people having a voice at the table means that all of a sudden a company, an organization, or a unit is going to start dropping the ball. When honestly, I'd argue the opposite. Having different experience levels and perspectives not only exposes blind spots that may be present, but it holds everyone accountable to the standards and expectations that have been set by leaders at all levels. Being more inclusive also doesn't mean you get to just say what you want with no thought of your message, the audience that you're talking to, or whether or not it's productive to the overall conversation. Yes, we want you to be in a space, in an environment where you feel comfortable voicing things. But that doesn't mean you get to disrespect other people in the process. And that doesn't mean you get to take up 20 minutes of the meeting complaining. Tip number one is to educate yourself and your team. So let's break down that first part, the educating yourself on what? And no, I'm not talking about your job or the mission statement. I'm talking about taking the time to learn more about the people that you work with and the people that are under you. And no, I'm not talking about the normal check the box type questions or statements that a lot of you guys just be throwing out there. Like, oh, you're married? What's your spouse's name? Oh, you have a dog? That's cool. Oh, you identify as a different gender? That must be really hard. I'm telling you right now, a lot of the time, you're not going to get a lot of engagement from that person with those statements. People are not dumb. They can tell the difference between when you're asking them questions to genuinely get to know them and when you're just asking them questions to do what I call data stacking, which is essentially just gathering information about a person, but you're also not actually connecting with that person. You're just stacking information for your own personal purposes. So, how about we take some of those same topics I just brought up and we make them a little bit more relatable and a little more personal? Oh, so you're married? Well, tell me how you guys met. You have a dog? Me too. How long have you had them and when did you decide to actually get one? Hey, if you don't mind me asking, I know you were born with the name Mark, but I wanted to know what inspired you to pick the name Nicole once you transitioned. In some way, shape, or form, those questions will bring out a different response. Whether it's them telling you a story or telling you an experience that they had, whether positive or negative, you'll have an opportunity to learn them a little bit better. Now, if you're wondering how does this help your office? Well, taking the time to learn about different people, different cultures, backgrounds, and perspectives will ultimately help you better understand and appreciate the diversity in your workspace. And once you educate yourself, which will take time, you'll be able to authentically educate your team. All right, tip two is to encourage open communication. Having multiple opportunities and avenues for people to provide feedback is generally a smart move. Create a safe space where employees feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and ideas. Just be sure to listen actively and be open to that feedback. The next tip is to celebrate diversity. And I know as that comes out of my mouth, a lot of you are assuming I am talking about observance months and holidays. Sure, that's a part of it, but that's not exactly what I'm talking about. Celebrating diversity also means recognizing people's ideas and solutions that are different as well. It even means bringing attention to something new someone did, like getting a new haircut or changing their hair color. Even small things like giving credit to people who decorated the office or someone who is always genuinely positive. This will show your peers and subordinates that you value their work, backgrounds, and contributions. And last tip, take action against discrimination. An important part of creating and maintaining a safe environment where people can perform at their best at their peak levels. Part of that is rooting out behavior that can compromise that. Do your best to implement clear policies and procedures to address any instances of discrimination or bias in the workplace, ultimately creating a zero tolerance environment. By following these tips, you can create a more inclusive and diverse workplace where all employees feel valued and respected. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more tips like this. Remember, we're here to create and dominate.